I don't know if you're around there anywhere, Jerry, but let me know if you can hear me.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life, when I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Well, we're ready to go here in the final round robin game at the Saville Shootout for the women. A lot of important games on the ice tonight, with just a place in the quarterfinals looming for many of these teams. So should be a very interesting night and a very interesting game. We've got one of the more important games out here with you tonight. We've got the Gim team, Gyeonggido from Korea, playing Kate Cameron from Manitoba. Gim is sitting at 4-0 and pretty much has a playoff spot locked up from what I can tell. I don't think there's any way that she would not make the playoffs, but Cameron, on the other hand, has to win really to have a chance of making it through to the playoff round. She's 2-2 right now, so a win certainly imperative for her. So Cameron has the hammer here in the first end. Very nice first shot of the game for her lead stone. This is Mackenzie Elias, I think, or Elias. I'm not sure which, but we'll go with just Mackenzie for this one. So a great come around by Mackenzie on the first shot of the game. So Gim will ask her lead to follow that in on the other turn, on the out turn. Teams sometimes have a preference, one turn over the other, but we've all heard the most notable of that, probably that Ebert and his preference for an out turn. But they can all throw both turns, so nice shot. So Cameron will play that same shot. You'll see a few rocks get stacked up here for as we make our way through the end. We go 2 or 3 times around that, and then somebody will have to decide to move them around a little bit once they figure out if it's to their advantage to leave them alone or go after them a bit. Looks like lots of room here. Watching the game last night, certainly indication the ice has lots of curl. It's really a nice finish, and not too sure on what the speed is, but it looks quick enough. And lots of curl, at least from the outside in. It's a little short. Looks like the Korean team will play the intern draw this time. Freeze right down on top of her own yellow stone. It's interesting when you look at the situation here with the Asian teams. There's the 3 teams from Japan have one team at 4-0 and 2 at 3-1, and this Korean team is sitting at 4-0. So certainly a pretty dominating performance by the Asian teams here in the round robin portion of this spiel. Beaver's going hard. It's a little bit light, I think. Check him up short and just rub the guard. Hammer with hammer probably needs to move something a little bit here fairly soon. She has sitting shot rock, but right now the options to get 2 are not very big. So well, here we go. We're going to play appeal now. Looks like maybe trying to hit it right in the middle between those 2 stones and get rid of both yellow rocks. Yeah, it looks like an out turn. Good. Maybe a little bit surprised. They could have probably swept that a little bit maybe and moved that out of the way, but they did keep theirs around on the corner, which is a nice spot for her stone. So pretty good shot. A busy few days here at Saville Shootout with 20 men's teams and 20 women's teams participating, and a lot of the best in the world are here this week, and it's been a pretty exciting event thus far. 1 more day to go after this. So we got the intern coming, or actually it's a left-hander in this case, so it'd be the out turn for her. Right in on top of her other stone. She needs to get a little bit more curl here, but it looks pretty good. It's certainly going to be a challenge to move that middle yellow one. Having said that, if Cameron can make a good shot here, maybe hit and roll in behind those guards as she taps, so you can see her tapping here to play that little hit and roll, we'd be sitting with number 1, number 3, number 4. A pretty good position there in the first hand, early goings. Just playing this with looks like kind of a down weight, probably a board weight or somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a touch overboard, but not very big weight. Sweeper's indicating it might be up a little bit. Mine looks pretty good from here. This could be real good. I left it right in the hole there. If there's a hole, I'd probably hit that a hair thinner and roll it over a little bit further. Would have been maybe a touch better, but Korean squad's looking to go through the hole, just trying to decide on which turn to throw. Like, not a massive hole, but certainly big enough to get through there. A lot of conversation about which way they're going. Okay, so switching over here to what would be the counterclockwise rotation. It'd be a right-handed player, so the out turn for her. This would be Suji Kim, third stone for the Gim team. He gets through the hole. He does. Nice shot through that. Lots of weight. It's interesting though. For the whole end, it looked like Cameron was maybe in a. I don't know if you guys missed it or if it was just on my laptop that I missed it, but there was a. I did miss it, but certainly the Cameron team didn't miss it. They made a really good shot to sit three now, I believe. Two for sure, maybe three. Most of which are behind the guard. So guards. Yeah, another good shot by the Korean team this time with moving rocks around a lot and getting rid of a couple. So that's a good, much better situation than she had. Although Cameron still has a chance to sit and sit three here. So quite a turnaround in this end in just a very few number of shots. One thing about the game when you do get a lot of rocks in play, and everybody now is so talented that it just if you just have a half a miss somewhere, then it can put you in a heap of trouble. So good opportunity now in this end for Cameron to score multiple points. Snow turn here just to curl a bit. I think it looks like she maybe just threw it a little bit straight. It's coming up okay. It's a good shot. Maybe Taylor McDonald playing third for the Cameron team. I think the Korean girls have to try to make the double here, and it might set up to make the triple or at least the double and roll behind the guards, maybe. Either way, think double first. If you can make the double here, that would be a good shot, and you can hold the shooter back in there. Even better. Girls, the front end tidying up the slide path. That was a good plan. Sometimes you get guilty, and the front ends get a little bit guilty sometimes of just watching and thinking and not doing that sort of thing. But these girls are on top of it. So here comes an out turn hit. Probably hit about 2/3 of the stone, maybe a touch less than 2/3 of the stone. Minji Gim, rather, very solid player. This one's got to come up a little bit more. Now, not a great result. Remove one rock, but she's now still looking at three, and the Cameron ring could make this very difficult for her. Not sure if they're playing the in-turn around the high red one or if they're playing the out-turn around the yellow one on the left. We'll know in a minute here. Doesn't really look like enough ice, I don't think, on the in-turn, but might be. Might be a little less curl going away from the center than there is coming to the center. She's setting up to throw the out turn. So if she is throwing an out turn, she'd like to be probably just on the tee line or just above the tee line would be fine. And probably 2/3 or 3/4 buried would be perfect. First end should draw away shouldn't be a problem. We did have practice before the game, so it's always nice to have a practice session to kind of help you with these first end shots. Oh, it just sneaks that one by. That's really, really good, I think. So it'll be an interesting call here for the Koreans. Do you come around that guard, one of those guards, and hope to maybe get out of this with a steal of one, or do you just minimize the damage and maybe try to play the red on the outside and roll behind the guards, maybe? Only the first end. I think I might be a little bit leaning towards playing some kind of a hit and roll. Not really any doubles there. But again, same thing we just said. Teams do have practice, so they should have a really good idea on what the weight looks or feels like. Looks like they're leaning towards a draw here. Make a really good shot here. You could kind of take the big end away for sure and force Cameron just to maybe even draw for one at the end of it. I still don't know where she'd go. She's got the same ice, or look, initially put down the same ice that the Manitoba girl said it had to go around on the out turn, but I think she's going on the in turn. It's going to be looking that way, but taking basically pretty much the same broom position as the previous shot on the other turn. It doesn't look like very much ice to me, but we haven't really seen much yet to tell us. The guards are pretty high when you look at the high shot, the above. So here goes. Anyways, has to make a dandy here to prevent dropping a multiple score end here in the first end. Girls are on it early. On it pretty hard. Not going to get there. Big miss in the first end for Team Gim. Pretty well knew that was short right out of her hand. The front end was on it right away and on it hard. So I have to fight their way back here from a 3 or a 4. So we'll see how it goes. Shouldn't have too much trouble with this one. She's just throwing the same shot she just threw. I might like to see her take 3 or 4 more inches of ice, but that's just me being a little bit safer. Because her first one really cut pretty hard on that out turn and came pretty close to the yellow one. This one's on its way. Nobody doing much with this one. Starting to go a little bit now. Just making sure it doesn't take off on her. And she's fine. So a big 4 in the first end for Team Cameron against Gim rather. And yeah, going to be a long way back now after that. Just really interesting how halfway through they looked like it was going to be maybe a challenge scoring more than 1, and all of a sudden have an open draw for 4. So after one end of play, Cameron 4, Gim nothing. Here at the Saville Shootout.
What do you got? You got 1, you got 2, yeah!
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
We're back. Fourth spot in the first end for Team Cameron. The only good news about that is it was the first end, and we have a lot of ends to go. So that's one thing. You drop a 4 in the sixth end or something, it becomes a lot more of a challenge. So it's they'll work pretty hard here, try to score a couple. It'll take them a few ends to get back in it, but if you can score 2 and give up 1, score 2 again, maybe, then you're only just down 1 point and right back in the game. So you see Cameron went in the house on the first rock. Team from Korea set up the corner guard. And now Team Cameron will throw one right on top of the one that's in the house, I believe. Or very, very close, anyways. It was a bit of a challenge me. Nothing. I'm always going to turn down 4 in the first end, but sometimes it becomes a little bit of a challenge as to, well, what do we do now? Do we try to go right into defense? Because that's a big lead, obviously, but or do we keep trying to pile on a little bit here and not lose our feel and kind of lose our sense of the game? And it's always interesting to see how that happens or what happens with that as we move on. So she goes right in on top of the other one, and Gim will ignore it and go around the corner guard. If this was 2 ends later, you might see her throw up another corner guard, but I mean, you have to go on this one a little bit, I think, too. Spy and should be right behind the guard. That's a nice shot. And one more time for Team Cameron. This time they're looking to be a little bit short of the house. Maybe, 2 feet be fine. Let me get this one over there to the finish. That's a good shot. So really 5 perfect shots so far in this end. So they're not gonna let this get too convoluted here in the second end. They're gonna play the peel in the front one. I would imagine try to roll towards their own, like on that side of the sheet, just to not take any chances. But no. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now Cameron will switch it up a little bit. You couldn't really do much with that. There's a few rocks with the rules the way they are. You really can't do too much with them sometimes. So now she's got a chance to get rid of the corner guard, and she will do that now. Still really early in this end, though. We're only like on the 4th stone of the end, so lots of times for both teams really to do something. This one looks okay. I don't think she was trying to hang around there. She could have, I guess, tried to put it in there and roll it in front of her own maybe, but I don't really think there's a big need for that yet. So Team Korea, Team Gim will now throw the same guard on try to replace that corner guard. Cameron Stone's in pretty good position there. It's not the easiest rock to get rid of in saving a shooter and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a bit of a challenge to make that, even if she does get the opportunity. And the girls are going to have to compare again on this one. Need to get another foot of curl out of this somehow. Pretty darn good effort. They don't have the luxury of having a whole bunch of extra body weight to help them on that. They have to get it all with as much strength as they can muster up and keep the speed up on the sweeping and try to really get as much out of pretty small frame bodies. Really, it's nice to be a little bit bigger sometimes when you're laying on that brush, but they did a heck of a job. Okay, same shot, I think. Cameron will be playing the same shot. She's half of that. She could go after that, but I think you got to peel the front one. Just play the straight peel. Feel like I'll go down to have a little chat about it. Season really just getting underway for almost all these teams. I mean, there's just probably a few teams maybe that played once already this year, and there's a couple teams I think that probably went to Europe as well, but not many. Most of them would be just getting going, I think. Certainly, I'm on the East Coast down here, and we don't have any curling clubs yet that are open, but we have some that are really close. She's going after this one in the house. I didn't think she would do that. I thought she'd just get rid of that guard and not play herself into anything that could be a little bit messy. But she can probably see at least half of it. On the sweeping on early. And off. They might have jumped it a little bit early. She looks okay. That's a good shot. If she gets it out. Yeah, good shot. Not a lot of rocks left to come now. Greens will come around that guard, that same corner guard, I think. They're talking a little bit about it here, but we can go around that corner guard, get shot. And that's what she's going to play. I suggest this one's going to curl a lot, but that was the last hand, and we were going the other way, so. It must be a little warm. I don't know if this is going to hang around or not. Doesn't look like it. No. Well, kind of a big miss. I mean, misses are always big misses, I figure, but sometimes bigger than others, and that one doesn't really help you a lot for sure. It kind of hurts. Would hurt if the red one wasn't there, but with the red one there already, it could make it a challenge scoring here, or at least scoring two. So Cameron's team going to play the outer and come around. I think they're coming right around their own. Okay, she's indicating a little bit that Taylor might have been a little bit wide. So I'll put her left arm out to indicate it was out there a ways. It's looking pretty good, though. Nicely done. Other good shots this end by the Cameron team. Runji Kim in some trouble here. Gonna need a big shot from her third. This will be her third's last rock. This one the line looks really good from here, at least. Just can't afford to bounce off it at all. And she will bounce out a little bit. Maybe just enough really to allow Cameron Rink to get at that. I was really close to being a real dandy. Just take 3 feet off of that, probably 2, 3, even 2 feet off of that for weight, and it probably curls in and sits and might even be shot rock. It would have been good, but would have and could have and should have and all that doesn't usually work too well. So she's gonna have to make a play on this, I think. And actually, if she can make a play on this and just flop a little bit, it's a tough shot, but certainly makeable. And she could be put the Koreans in a world of hurt here early in this game. I look totally convinced that she wants to play it. This is one of those that you sometimes get a little bit of negative stuff in your head. You kind of got to throw that away and recognize that this is really not a hard curling shot. So you just got to focus on it. Think of the weight if you're trying to throw on the ice, and just go ahead and make it. I'm not expecting this to be a whole lot of weight. I'm expecting to see something in the neighborhood of probably hacked a board for weight, somewhere around there. Maybe a touch more, but not very much, I don't think. Let's wait. Might be a little bit out. Trying to move. Put the curve over there a little bit. I think she's probably going to take her own, but she's probably going to get rid of both. Yeah, that'll actually work okay. I think it's it's certainly not exactly what you're doing, but you're sitting true still, and there's no double option there for the Koreans, and I think she should be fairly happy with that one. She did seem a little bit uncomfortable with throwing it, so but she threw it well. Might have been just a hair heavier than they thought, but that's not a surprise either, really. It's just you looking at it and knowing you don't want to do anything crazy, and just give it just a little extra to hold it out there. Well, them trying to do the same thing. This one's going to curl a bit, I think. She might have underthrown it a little bit. Girls are going hard, but she might have got a little bit fortunate, although that guard's a long ways out there. Certainly rolled further than she was trying to roll, but she is shot rock, and she is kind of behind the guard, but like I said, that guard is a long ways out. So she just has to make this go away. Just throw enough weight to make sure you can buy the rock and the guard rather, and stay there and force the Koreans to make a shot for one. Couldn't ask for any more, really, if you're the Cameron team. This will be an out turn again, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of board weight, I think. I don't see it being too much more than that. A little cleaning here. It should be fine. Very nicely done. Nice shot. So job well done by the camera rink in this end. They probably would have been quite happy just giving up a deuce even in this end, but instead they're forcing the Korean squad to draw for one. Don't really have to say it. Pretty much a must make for the Koreans. They the way the rocks are positioned is they're either going to get one or they're probably going to give up two or three. So they need to make one. And I would expect that she probably will, but it's only the second end. Hasn't had a chance to play a lot of rocks yet, so we'll see how it goes. Let's wait. Everybody pretty much throws a rock really nice nowadays, but I certainly like the way the Korean skip throws the phone. But got to get it by. Now they're going real hard. I think she's okay. And a very nice shot. So Team Gim will make a draw on the last rock for one here in the second end. And trailed Cameron 4-1 after two in the final round robin game here at the Saville Shootout.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you and your farm ahead of the curve. Grow with us at victorycanola.com.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
And number 3 on its way here at the Saville Shootout. Team Camera with a commanding 4-1 lead after just 2 ends of play. And with Hammer in this end. So good position to be in for sure. Got a long way to go. Team Gim throws up a guard. And the Cameron team is going to come around it. Looking shot here. Yeah. Been maybe a little tiny bit buried, but Not bad above the tee line, top the forefoot. Good usable rock for later on. And Team Gim will throw up another guard. I mentioned earlier that Gim was 4-0 going into this game, and how they got there was they beat McNamee in the first game 7-1, and then they beat Tabata, another Asian team, 4-3 in the second game. They beat Robin Silvernagel 6-3 in their third game, and McCartney 6-3 in their final game, or their previous game to this. So that was all 4 wins for them. So a good guard there. I got it set up where they'd like to be right now. The 2 rocks fighting both on the center line. Cameron Rankle now asked their lead. Mackenzie, wish I know how to say this, Elias, I'm going to call it, but come around that. Very good. Well done. And Cameron, I mentioned, is they're on their kind of last leg. I don't even know exactly what their status is, other than if they win this, they'll be 3-2, and if everything falls the right way, they might have a shot at getting into the playoffs. They haven't had any real close games yet. They lost their first one 5-1 to Silvernagel. Then they defeated McMacken, I believe it is, from North Dakota, probably. Beat them 9-1. And then they beat McCartney from Saskatchewan 7-3, and then they lost their last game before this to Tabata from Japan 8-1. So this game following in that suit, where one team's scoring a lot and one's not scoring many right now. So the Koreans are probably going to go pretty hard this end to be able to try to steal a point. They're going to need to get back in this game in a few ends for sure, and they can't really afford to give up much more. So I think you'll see them be pretty aggressive. Good shot there, but pretty much open. Nice thing for Korea, they got a couple of pretty good-looking guards out there. And the good news for Cameron's team is they've got a 4-1 lead, wide open rock to hit, and they will be able to peel after this shot if they have to. I got the intern hit. It's just be a little hit, and I think roll to the left, roll to the outside, or into the 12-foot would be a good spot. Nose hit probably not bad here either, but it's a little bit touchy to play it. He's going to have to go a little bit to stay. And I think it's out, but that one may be measured later on. So Team Gim in the opening round. Got a few rocks to work with here, so if they can make a good shot here, you'd see. I'm sure you'd see a Cameron team go up and peel a guard or two. But I'm coming into view here now, or there we go. Yeah, it's a little light. The Cameron Mink is just going to hit that. There we go. We're back. A little freeze up there for a second. Second stone, Brianna Cullen. A little out turn hit. It's a nice control weight hit. And it looks like she made it with no problem at all. Be interesting here. It looks like the Koreans are going to go. I don't know. I think they're going to come around that. The rocks are staggered there. If you can get one in there good right now, it'd be pretty tough for Cameron to get rid of it. Certainly not in one shot. Apologies for that little bit of a freeze up we have happening here on this, just on the one camera right now, but we're lucky enough we can at least see the other side and see what's happening. So she's playing the intern come around here. Koreans need to make a good shot here. They've been struggling a little bit here last and in a bit to really make real good shots. They want to put some rocks roughly where they want them, but not exactly. And shots like this one aren't going to really help you because it's just too heavy. So you have shot rock, but I don't think you can plan on that one being a scorer for you later. Interesting call by the Cameron team. A little bit of a bump and roll, kind of a split. I was going to talk about it a little bit more. I think I don't know that you really need, if you want to play, if you're going to be a little bit aggressive, I don't know that you really need to split that at all. I think it's just probably just as easy to come around it on the intern. Or the out turn, come around it on one of the turns. Just with split, you got to get a little bit more, a few more things right than you have to with just a straight draw. Let's see what they decided. Huh? I guess they stuck with it. Let's see what happens. I don't know, you hit this 3/4, you just bump it into the open, and it's shot, but Korea's still second shot, and you end up maybe Korea sitting 2 after the next one. So I don't really, I'm not in love with this shot. But they throw better than I do, so it's probably going to come out pretty good. Got to curl a lot. Yeah, just a little bit heavy. I just think that made the shot more complicated than it had to be. It really, they say, it's just more to think about with a split of any kind like that than there is if you just play the straight draw. But anyway, it's there now. The Koreans will come around on the intern. Let's see if they can put Cameron into a little bit of the Cameron team into a little bit of trouble here. They also have to make some big shots here, so was going really hard on this, which sort of indicates that she's probably a little bit light. Been light a few times. Might get there. Whoa, that is a great sweeping job. Terrific sweeping job. I didn't really think that had a chance of getting there, and they carried it almost to the 4-foot. Another interesting call coming up. Okay, the red one. A little bit hard to tell here. It looks like there's a possibility it might drag into it. There's also a possibility it might go right over top of the yellow. So she desperately needs it to hit that yellow on its way by at least. Not a lot of weight. And she's by. Wow, that's actually not terrible. She's number 2 and number 3 at least now, so I don't quite know what that shot was, though. I assume that was an actual takeout. Like I think she was playing basically not make the double on her own, but hit both of those hard enough to hit that yellow one out, knock that yellow one out. But not really sure. Worked out sort of okay. Greens have to think a little bit about what they want to do here too, because they can throw caution to the wind and go right after it and come right around this again. Sit 2, maybe buried, or at least partly buried. They could also play a hit off one of the red ones. Probably the one on the left as we look at it here, because there's less complicated situation on that side. And try to roll it in. My problem with that, you might set up a double on your own. Not many rocks to come here, though, so she might. You can bring that. The only reason you hit is if you think you might get a chance to bring the back one into play. But when you don't have hammer, you have to assume that you're never going to be able to bring that back one into play, or at least not into play in a way that it's going to cause a problem for Team Cameron. So he's carrying and draws on his way. Going hard. This is going to be a hard press to get this by the guard. They got the last one by, though. And she's a little bit late, too, I think. Yeah. Don't want to leave a hole. Yeah, not a good shot, I don't think, really. It's just, you got to make a better shot than that. You need a little bit more weight. Probably could have used another few inches of ice, but at least a little bit more weight. Looks like the Cameron rink's going to try to play the run back. Pretty short little run back, really. Just only was that between 4 and 5 feet. Admittedly, it's at an angle, but if you could ever make this one good, Koreans are going to be in trouble. They'll have an out, but it'll have to be a heck of a shot. It's on its way. A little bit of an outward release there, but she's real close. Great shot. Really good shot. Really good shot for Team Cameron. But last shot by the Koreans was so crucial. If you just take that right all the way around and get it in there, then you're in. She can't make that. Probably she can make it, but you're still going to be sitting one and in pretty good shape. And now you're in a lot of trouble. You might just ignore all of this and just throw the out turn draw right to the top of the button. don't really see playing this shot, but they may just because they feel like there won't be so many red ones in there, but I don't think. I think it's it looks like she's playing a little bit of maybe a little bit of a chap and roll off of the red one that's in the forefoot. A couple of ways to get in there. As long as you don't really overthrow this, you can come off the one that you call, which is the one in the forefoot. Just chip off that and roll in. If it stays out a little bit, you can come off the top one and roll in and get shot as well. But you got to be at least draw weight and maybe a little bit more than draw weight to have either one of those work. So big shot here for the Koreans. This one's kind of dictates whether or not they're going to have any chance to get back in this game. Seen him make a lot of good shots over the last while, though, so I won't be a bit surprised if she makes this one perfect. On its way, Weaver's jumping it really early. I don't know if she's light or tight, but it's got to be one of those. I'm looking a little bit light, I think. No, not going to get there. Not really close. Tough night. Kim just not on their game tonight for sure. It's just, that's two rocks in a row, and neither one of them real good shots. So an open draw for Team Cameron here for another 4. Not too often do you see anybody have a chance at 2 4s in 3 ends in this kind of competition. So, we see what happens and see how long they want to play. So just a draw, really just a piece of the 8-foot with all kinds of rocks in there that are yours. You can throw this from perfect T-line weight to back 12 and still score 4 points. So I expect you should have too much trouble with this one. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And that'll be it. 4 points on the board for Team Cameron. And an 8-1 lead after 3 ends of play here in the final round robin draw at the Saville Shootout. And we'll be back in a minute.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
So we're back here at the Saville Shootout, fourth end. And what I think would be fair to say a bit of a surprise outcome at this point in the game, with Team Cameron having an 8-1 lead over Gim from Korea. Gim team sitting at 4-0 coming into this game, and just have struggled tonight with most everything, really, to be honest. And the Cameron team, after maybe just a little bit of a rocky start for half an end, have been pretty much bang on here for the last what have we got, 2.5 ends, and continue pretty much to be there. So you see Cameron goes to the house twice. The Koreans are going to throw up a second corner guard. It's a big hill to climb from here on in, but with your Korea, you really need to try to maybe manufacture a 3 spot here, and we can put 3 points on the board and go to the second half down 8-4 would be something that wouldn't be unrealistic to have a shot at coming back from. But they really do need 3. I don't think 2 is really enough to make it work for them. And shots like that aren't going to help. So that's a corner guard that went into the house, which is now accessible for Cameron to hit. And that just doesn't help. So it's an off night overall for the Koreans. Brianna Cullen asked to play the hit on the rock in the 12-foot. And no problem at all. So Gim's now looking at maybe playing a freeze to the yellow, or to the reds rather, at the top of the 8-foot. Just put one in the pocket between them and see what can happen. I think you'll see Team Cameron peel the corner guard if she does that. Yeah, it's just tough to know what to do here. It's not nothing's really working, so I think you've got to throw another corner guard or 2 up here for a minute at least, just to see what happens. I think if you play this shot, she's going to take the corner guard off, and you're not going to have much to work with. So. I don't think they play a lot of games when we're down by this many this early, so it's a little tough to figure out what to do. And tap them around a little bit, see if that can help. So try to tap the red one back to maybe the T line or just behind the T line. And what you're doing here is trying to set something up for later on to give yourself maybe a little bit of a wall there to play a freeze or 2 down to, and see if you can manufacture a couple of points. I'm sure they want 3, as I mentioned before, but right now, when you only have 1 so far, it's hard to be too optimistic on getting more than 2 in this end. This shot looks pretty good, I think. So a little bit. Yeah, probably need to go a little bit harder early on that just to keep it out a little bit, but kind of the right idea. I think perfect weight, just needed to curl a little bit less. Ooh, I'd be surprised if they don't get that shot. I don't think you're in one guard here. Yeah. I guess as a team, she looked like she went out to the play, get rid of that corner, and then as a team decided that they'll go ahead and keep the pressure on and throw a draw in here by the looks of it. Sometimes you get safety in numbers, I suppose. So if you get enough in there, then it's going to be tough for them to do anything about it. But I just find it a little bit different. I wouldn't expect them to play this way here. Well, a good shot. Now, it seems like you have such a big lead that you really don't need to worry, but and you don't really. I mean, you've got a long time before you're in very much trouble here. But if Koreans now can move the yellow a little bit and maybe sit in front of the red, and all of a sudden they've got number 3 and number 5 or something in there, and it doesn't take a lot to maybe get some of those rocks in a position where they score for you. So you have to be a supreme optimist, I think, but at the same time, it's doable. A little bit surprised they didn't take that corner right off. It would have made more sense to me to do that, but so we got a little come around tap here, I think is the call. Well, I think that's really basically what they played. So good shot. I think they were not, they weren't necessarily looking to bump it quite that much into the open, but regardless, that's a pretty good shot. And I think Cameron now is like I say, you just made the end a little more difficult than it needed to be. I think by not taking out the guard and. I think the shot now is just probably just go ahead and hit the one that she just threw, that the green's just through, and there's not really much danger of doing anything terrible with it. So I'm probably going to leave one rock in the house, but that's not a big deal. Can't quite tell whether or not the double's there. It might be there. Double on the yellows, that is, where. Yeah, it would be there. I guess there's a couple ways to make it. Thanks for that shot. It was good. Pretty hard trying to hold this one up a little bit. This looks fine. Well, that's a good shot. Definitely going to be difficult for Gim to manufacture much here, but. We get a team meeting on this one. It's no surprise. It's a lot of rocks. I actually like that shot that she just tapped when she said, we'll hit that one and roll over. So if you hit the high red one, the one that's just biting the 12-foot, drive it into the other one and do that flop there, and then you pick one of those off at the end. I think that's perfect. A really hard shot to do it really well, but you need to do something really well here to get you back in the game. So I would give this a go. I don't see any other way to do much. So I think it's normally you don't like to be throwing a lot of heavyweight hits when you're down by 7 points, but I think in this case you need to throw something that's going to move some stones. A little tap here, I don't think I love that. I just think it's going to be too hard to do anything with it. So we hit this one 3/4 or even just 2/3 or whatever, and I'd like to just roll to just biting the center line on the other side of center. That's the one way I think you can maybe get rid of one of the reds off the button. these teams that play on the tour now and play so many events in Canada, never even come away. They just see more of the game than they ever used to see. I mean, I'm going back a few years now, but it's like she saw this pretty quickly and pretty, pretty sure that it was there. So whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's still it was certainly good that she saw it. A lot of times, Jack, not too many years ago, nobody would have saw that. So the intern of this, pretty hard. It's got to come up a little bit. Well, it's more or less. Yeah, that's just a little bit unlucky. That comes up another probably, I don't know, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. She's sitting probably in the same position, with except that now she has another rock in the house, and maybe another rock that might be behind something. So really close to being a great shot, and it was still a really good shot. So that's probably, I guess, as good as any if you're going to throw that shot. It's might have been looking to come in the house a little bit deeper than that, but that's not bad. I think there's only a couple of rocks to come. 3 rocks, I guess, to come for the Koreans. So I'm going to throw the intern down here, try to tap the yellow up a little bit. It's really hard now to end up with 2 of them behind guards and still have a chance to get that red one out. So that's the challenge right now for the Koreans. It's on its way anyways. It'll be pretty good, I think. Tell you, when you're struggling a little bit, it just seems like the little misses are just there all the time too. That's just, again, another shot that probably, a couple feet lighter, maybe 3 feet lighter, would have been fine. Would have got a tiny little bit more curl, and would have kept that other rock in above the tee line. So the one in the 4 foot, or almost in the 4 foot. So it's just tough. So looking at some options here, looking at playing a draw. I think that's sort of what she was indicating, but that's probably not quite the ice for the draw. So maybe she's playing just a little bump on the yellow. I don't know if that's enough ice for just draw weight, but it might be. You could hit the yellow that's in the top of the 8 foot on the other side as well. That would be an option. But that one carries some risk. And she could just play the straight hit on this yellow one that looks like she's drawing to, which again would be a totally acceptable call. Just make it go away. Sometimes you have a skip that just likes one style of game, and that's kind of what they tend to gravitate to. So cameras. Skip's first shot. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Hard to really complain about that one. Say anything really wrong with it. Although if you can get to the face of it, or almost to the face of it, and maybe pop it through that hole a little bit, leave your own right in front. It'll give Team Camera something to think about for sure. I don't think you can get to that one. Could play the yellow. The yellow in the 8 foot. You could play that back on the red and the button, and you roll your shooter behind the corner guard, which I didn't want there a long time ago, but it hasn't really been a problem yet. So, yeah, it could be there. So it looks like she's going to go out turn. You just got to come really close to the guard to make this the way you want to make it. It's basically a shot. I think if you're going to play this one, you just got to move it. You got to move it outside the 8 foot. Just move it to the back of the 12 foot somewhere. And let Team Cameron figure out what they're going to do, and hope they do something that helps you more than hurts you. Time for Kim to make a shot, though. She has really been struggling with weight control here the whole evening. The whole evening's only been 6 shots, but regardless, it's she has been struggling. So she needs to find a good one here somewhere. This could be a really good shot if she gets a by there. Pops that through the hole. That's perfect. That was a great shot. I know she's not shot, and she may never ever be shot, but that was still a great shot because now she's sitting 2, 3, and 4. There's no real easy takeouts here. Looks like these guys are going to follow it down again. She was bang on for weight last time, so if she can just duplicate her last shot, she's probably going to be out of any serious trouble. But if she ever came up short or something like that, and this one left the Koreans a little angle raised takeout on their own, it would be for 4 points, and if nothing else, would be a learning experience. So here's the outturn draw. I suspect this will be real close. Hanging out a little bit, but as long as you're in the 8 foot with this, it's probably not going to hurt you a whole lot. Yeah, that's a nice shot. That's a nice shot. I say you just got to, I guess, when you're skipping, if you got the confidence to throw that shot each time, you just go ahead and throw it. This has become a lot harder shot now, but it's very makeable for 2. It's just not very makeable for 3 or more. You could make it for 3, but really, really tough. And the 4 is pretty much out of the picture. So, anyway.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed.
Final rock coming to come right now in the 4th end here at the Saville Shootout. Last game in the round robin. Team Korea down 8-1 to Team Cameron. Needing this for 2. You haven't got a lot of wiggle room on this because you really can't. If you hit your own at all, you're probably not going to get 2. You're probably only going to get 1. So it has to be perfect. Got a sweep. Must be close. Must be real close. Really nice. Nicely done by Team Gim. So Gim picks up 2, trails 8-3 after 4 ends against Kate Cameron. We'll be back in a minute. Got a sweep. Must be close. Must be real close. Really nice. Nicely done by Team Gim. So Gim picks up 2, trails 8-3 after 4 ends.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
So halfway through, Team Cameron leading 8-3 on the strength of a couple of 4-enders. But a lot better effort that end by the team from Korea, and a really nice final shot, really. So if nothing else right now, they got to feel a little bit better than they were a few minutes ago. And, if they can ever pull off a couple of steals here on the way to the end, they get a chance to make this a possibility, this comeback. So open a guard. Team Cameron will come around it. So no surprise there. Team Cameron come right around to the top of the 4-foot. Nice shot, fully buried. And Team Gim will follow her down. I think, unless she called for a high guard, which a guard I think would be a better call here. So just kind of missed the start there. Just trying to get caught up a little bit on some of the other results. I'll pass those along in a couple of minutes. So she drops that one on the center line, and Team Cameron will come right around it again. Not a lot of options for the team with the lead here. You pretty much have to go right around. There's nowhere really else that you can throw it. Now, back in the day, you might throw it through, but now there's so many rocks before you can hit anything, it just seems like kind of a waste. Yeah, good shot. But yeah, so really not worried too much about those rocks right now. Really, you've got a couple guys out there to be able to use a little bit. I think you got to try to use them. And a little out-turn tap on the red. You got to go a little bit now. You don't want to bounce off the top one. Well, heck of a shot. Just more perfect. And now Cameron's team's going to go out and start to get rid of some guards. I didn't really get rid of much. Change the colors a little bit. So basically the same shot she just played on the other one now. Try to just come around fairly tight. Have the red back behind the tee line somewhere. And all of a sudden you'll have something to work with here. Another good shot. Might be a little tough yet to get rid of them, but at least you had an opportunity. Both those rocks now just a little bit behind the tee line, and it affords you the opportunity to play a little raise, play a freeze, play a straight draw. All of those things are an option now. Plus, your 2 rocks are at the top of the 8-foot, so both those are very usable. And they're almost overlapping, but I don't think they are, so you have a chance to use them both. Well, could be an interesting end here. Team Gim, I'm guessing, will play the same shot again. They go. Mentioned earlier that there's a lot of important games on the ice out here, and there really are. It's with 8 teams making the playoffs. There were a lot of teams that were sitting at 3-1 and more at 2-2 going into this round. So I'll give you a couple of the notable ones here in a minute. Get through this shot, playing this little raise. Just as the pearl might be just smidge heavy. Trying to really bend it over there and getting close. Ooh. A little unlucky, but pretty good. So some of the games that are on right now, if you're not happen to be tracking it all and just watching this one, then you've got Sturmey and Einerson playing, and Einerson is 2-2 going into this draw, and Sturmey is 3-1, but Anderson leads 5-2 after playing the 5th, not after the 5, but playing the 5th. So big game there. Certainly, if Sturmey were to lose that, brings some other teams back into the fold, including Perry's team. So a couple teams at 2-2, Withers and Peterson leads that at 3-2, playing the 5th. All these games are playing the 5th. Fujisawa from Japan is up 6-2 on McCarthy, I think it is, and she's 3-1, so she would move to 4-1, which would secure her playoff spot for sure, without any questions asked. And, what else do we have here? We've got Plett. I think it's Plett playing Laws. Both teams at 3-1, and Laws leading 3-2, playing the 5th. So both teams in a good position. I'm not sure about the losing. If the team that loses that one might be in a bit precarious position of if depending on how the tiebreakers all work out for them. So I'm thinking Korea is going to just go right in again. They're going to throw the guard. Well, that's not bad. Also, Kitazawa is the other 4-0 team, and they are leading 4-2 on Jolene Campbell, playing the 5th. And Richards is 3-1, playing Michelle Englot. Michelle hasn't won a game yet, but she is leading this one 2-1, playing the 5th. That's pretty much all of them. We'll give you a little more update before we finish here this evening, and I won't have the final pairings and everything for playoffs, but we can at least have a little better idea where it's at. So here comes a guard for Team Korea. That's a tight guard, somewhere around the top 12 is pretty good. Oh, she went in a little deeper. I don't think she called that. If she did, I missed it. I thought she was calling it for up high, but in my notes here, so I might have missed it. That's a tight guard, somewhere around the top 12 is pretty good. Oh, she went in a little deeper. I don't think she called that. If she did, I missed it. I thought she was calling it for up. Cameron's in a little tiny bit of trouble here. McDonald's first shot or second shot here, I'm not sure. Probably looks like second shot. So she's going after one of the yellows, going after the back yellow. Yeah, she made it go away. It actually worked out pretty good, I think. I think she's had a pretty good game, really. I haven't been keeping any stats, just kind of something I could have done, I guess, and maybe I'll do in future games. I think she's had a pretty good game. It seems to me she's throwing a lot of good shots. She's throwing some takeouts a little bit later than I would like to see. But for the most part, I think she's played a pretty good game for Team Cameron. It's interesting here. The problem for Korea is that sometimes they're going to have to score more than 1 point to win this game, or else they're going to have to score one in every single end, which probably not going to happen. And even then, I guess they'd lose by one if they did that. So somewhere they're going to have to score more than one. So I think this is a good opportunity to follow that yellow down and freeze tap right on it. And you'll bump that red one back, maybe bump that red one back to the 12-foot and sit 1-3 or 1-2 and see what happens from there. You can't afford to bounce off it or anything like that. It has to be perfect. But that's when you're losing by this many points, you just have to accept the fact that whatever you do has got to be perfect here. So Wingi Kim Gim coming up to throw here first. We're in the 5th end. Although it's probably not going to affect their playoff position really by much. Still, they're sure they'd like to pull out a victory here and be on a winning streak going into the playoffs. So not a lot of ice. Just going to throw a little bit of weight at this, but just can't throw too much because you just can't afford to bounce off it. It didn't look like she threw a lot of weight on it, so. Indicating the weight's down. It looks really good. Not very well done. Indicating the weight's down. It looks really good. Not very well done. More feet, just to give yourself a little bit more room. I like this replay thing. I just didn't notice it the first couple of times we did it, probably. So it's going to be interesting here. I think Team Cameron is going to try to hit that yellow and drive that yellow one into the pile and get rid of a couple of yellows. You're going to probably leave yellow sitting shot, but sitting one's not too bad. You just don't want it to turn into more than that. So really, only just got the one. That's it's going to be interesting. So you see the difference here. If she had been able to just bump that red one on the first shot 2 more feet, she could have had a shot here to sit 3. Everything buried. So, but regardless of that, she's got a real good chance of sitting 2, and in difficult positions. So, I think it's well played, and just got to make this one. So a big shot for Team Korea here. Really, it's I don't think she can sit 3 after the shot, but she can certainly sit 2 and be in a pretty good position to maybe steal a couple. Definitely steal one, but maybe a couple. If they can sneak this by, and they did. Now she needs to have enough weight to move it. That's a good shot. So she's going to draw. She's got a tough draw. Has to hit the button to score. Pretty much hit the button to not give up 2. But having said that, she really doesn't have a whole lot else. So we'll play it in for Team Korea here. It was, Kim just managed to find some draw weight in this end, which is nice, and have a little better feel for things. She's just been struggling for a few hands. So see what happens here on this draw. Big shot. Still have a pretty commanding lead no matter what happens here, but at the same time, it's momentum. It's might start to swing a little bit here if you don't make this one. Well, she might have got one, or she might have just given up one. We'll see what it says. 1 red. Great shot. That was a heck of a shot. Well thrown, well swept. That's a big point. After a great end by Team Gim, Team Cameron makes their last one for 1. Takes a 9-3 lead after 5 ends here in the Saville Shootout. We'll be back in a minute.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
And we are back for end number 6 here at the Saville Shootout between, oh, they might be done. We aren't back after all. It looks like they're going to call it a day, and not surprising. And so we have a final score of Team Cameron 9, Team Gim 3. Team Cameron now will sit back and see what happens with all the other games and whether find out what their playoff picture looks like, if at all. So it's going to be a challenge for them to get in, but it's a possibility they had needed to win that one, and that was a tough team to beat. So congrats to them, and we look forward to seeing you sometime tomorrow. Thank you. Oh, got to go to a commercial before we forget that, so we'll do that first.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So our game came to a little bit of an abrupt end there, and you see Cameron put it together in last shot, make a nice last shot to finish that game. And as we've mentioned a couple of times, there's a lot of important games out here on the ice. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an update before we sign off with this one. So Terry Anderson, as we mentioned, was 2-2 going into this one, playing Sturme, and needed to win really to have a shot at the playoffs. She's 2-2, and Sturme 3-1, and she leads 5-3 after 5 with Hammer playing the 6th. Tabitha Peterson and Serena Gray Withers, both teams at 2-2 and tied up in this one 3-3 after 5, with Peterson holding the Hammer in the 6th end. Fujisawa from Japan sitting at 3-1 going into this game was in a pretty good position, and they are controlling this one pretty good. They're up 6-2 after 4 ends against Jessica McCartney from Saskatoon. Corinne Brown and Taylor Rees-Hansen. Rees-Hansen at 2-2 with a shot at the playoffs. Corinne Brown not having one of her better weekends. She's at 0-4 going into this, and not like her to end up there, but she is in this one. So she's tied. They're tied at 4, with Rees-Hansen having the Hammer playing the 6th end. Mila Platt and Caitlin Laws are both 3-1, so both of them have a shot at the playoffs regardless of what happens here, but a lot better to count on a win getting you in than a loss. So Caitlin Laws is leading 4-2, just stole one in the 5th end, but Platt will have Hammer in the 6th. So a close game there. And our game, as we mentioned, Cameron winning over again, 9-3. Kitazawa, the other team at 4-0 going into this draw, tied up with Jolene Campbell, 4-4 after 5 rather, and holding the Hammer in the 6th end. 2 other games. Kaylee McNamee is leading over Christine McMacken, 5-1. Oh, sorry, 5-3 after 6 ends. That game's a little further along. McNamee does have Hammer. I don't know if either one of these teams is in the playoff picture. I'm thinking not, but can't say for sure on that one. Tabata from Japan leading Silvernagel 9-2. That game now is finished. That one finishes 5-2. And Tabata, I'm not sure how to say that. Should be playoff bound. I think that makes her 4-1, and Silvernagel finishing up about 1-4. So in the final game, Michelle Englot, who struggled as well through the spiel, but not struggling in this game, leading 3-1 against Richards from Edmonton. Richards has a definite shot at the playoffs. She's 3-1 if she can pull out a win here, but she's got some work to do going home. And Englot is not going to be in the playoffs, so she'd like to finish on a winning note. So that concludes all of the updates I have. And I'm sure that if you want to flip over to one of the other games that's going on, you can certainly do that. There's lots of good games out here, and you can pick one to watch the rest of the way. So thanks very much for tonight. Looking forward to quarterfinals tomorrow, and we'll see who makes it through here tonight. It's Jim Nix saying good night.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.